So let me whine about fighting fantasy, Final Fantasy. I mean, I'm sorry. Uh, it won't be a very serious video, but you have to understand most video games, famous video games that are historically important, are, when you think about it, are not really that good. I mean, take Street Fighter 2, everybody knows that. Nobody knows what Street Fighter 1 was. It's probably didn't exist anyway. There, you just use this attack with every single character and won. I mean, at least against the computer, and I've seen once in the arcade too. Now, Mortal Kombat, its main competition, so to say. Is it better? In a way. But let's talk about again playing against the computer. The computer cheats like fuck. So fuck you. And you can't get better. Because, there are the difficulty settings, and normal is already fucking hard. Fuck. Easy is fucking hard. In easy, though, you can get to Kintaro with just ducking like, on the ground to the ground and hitting or while crouching or kicking. That's all you have to do to win Mortal Kombat 2. Or I don't think 3. Anyway. Then you find Kintaro, against whom this strategy doesn't work anymore. So then you have to fight properly and... How? I never had the opportunity to learn the moveset. But I could get to here, so why am I punished for doing what the game is programmed to do? It's absolutely gibberish. Or Zelda. You can come up with me timelines and multiverse and whatnot. When I sit down, it's just random dungeon after random dungeon. After a while, it's like crossword puzzles. They get infinitely boring. Sooner than you would imagine. No fighting fantasy. What is even fighting fantasy? What makes it a brand, a franchise? Because let's take Pokemon. And that's an anthology series with like non-existent world building. Let's be honest, world building for Pokemon just doesn't exist. But there are the Pokemons, and there are some characters that returned from other games, and they still the same character, recognizably, because they have the same profession, they tell their past, what happened in the previous game, it's the same thing. So there is some kind of continuity. That's a franchise. What have Final Fantasy? Nothing. The studio. Or for a while it was turn-based strategy, nowadays it's not even that. The only thing is it comes from the same studio, and I guarantee they are making other RPGs, JRPGs, and why they don't not call it Final Fantasy? Just because. And let's talk about this. I specifically want to talk about Final Fantasy, or you say, oh, the title. Is Final Fantasy III an RPG? Let's define RPG for computer game purposes. There are combat RPGs where you pick a class and level up and get skills and stats and whatever. Diablo is pretty familiar, everyone. with that concept. Is that an RPG? No, that's a combat RPG or action RPG if you want to shoot around, whatever. JRPGs are like, after Final Fantasy we got into real-time action, I don't know what even is, but classically speaking, JRPGs differed from the Western RPGs. They were grinding, included heavy grinding, and they were turn-based with the combat system. It's not entirely boring when they are doing it well, and they swam. You made a group, a party of various possible characters, and you developed them. And you didn't just develop the individual characters, that would still be just something like Diablo. You got a special ending for them. That's working. So you influenced the player's decision, influenced the world. Without picking up certain character, they wouldn't achieve the ending where they achieve their dream, like opening a shop, marrying, or finding the skull of their life, whatever it is. Without that, it's not an RPG. I don't see that in Final Fantasy 3, I'm sorry. And the easiest way, if you want to make an RPG, is make a faction. The player decides what the faction they will be affiliated with, and they would spread through the gameplay. They would have the shops, they would appear in most towns, and some couple of extra NPCs, they take over the ruling role of cities and that kind of stuff. That's the easiest way to do. The Asians usually don't do that. But what annoys me is Fighting Fantasy 3 a bad game? No, it's mediocre. For a tactical RPG, like this turn-based combat system, what makes them most of the time, it's like always, how they always work before I saw Fighting Fantasy 3, is they offer you abilities. And if you want to attack whacking, you want to attack slashing, you want to attack this way, and you want to do some magic, something like that. And you have to build up your party around this, make a combo out of it, and they fill with these attacks all kinds of roles. Like the debuff character, the buff character, the blunt damage character, the slashing damage character, whatever, the wizard. Here it's like doesn't exist. Only wizarding character can do, spell selection. They still have spell selection at least. Otherwise, you just press the automatic attack button and they will walk. Because they don't have anything else, just attacking. Okay, to be fair, some they always have some extra feature, but what to do with, like, the warrior has a boosted attack, and if he gets damaged, it suffers a bit more damage, but it usually has enough stuff on it, defensive power, to tank it out. But, like, what do you do with Thief? You shouldn't be Thief. Thief can do two things. One, run away from a fight. Although you cannot run away from boss fights, the only thing you want to run away from if you are in trouble, especially we will get to that, and can open locked doors without the key. But you can just switch to that class and switch back immediately, and sure, There was a door locked, now it's open. Who cares? Now, when you start such a game, like this, you have a party and you have jobs to take up. Let's be honest, you want 2 spellcasters and 2 physical fighters who use weapon. Here, it's a big mistake. For the, I don't know how long the game will be, but for technically, so you are gathering 4 crystals or have an audience with them, and you fight a big boss at the end. So I got to the 3rd crystal, so that's like 3/5 of the game is done in technically. You should play 100% all match party. Although, this is important, you should only have 1 white mage. Why? It practically has no damaging power. It has, for the first 3 spell levels, 1 damaging spell, and it's some unique special element, so what the wizards don't even have. It doesn't matter, it never comes into play. Who cares? So that's there, and then you probably want dedicated black mage. It's stronger. Let's be honest, it's a bit stronger, and it gets plenty of spells. It's like the AD&D. You have spell charge. Like you can cast before or between sleeping or getting healed. X amount of level 1 spells, epsilon amount of level 2 spells, Z amount of level 3 spells, and this is all the import. There are 8 spell levels, but until the 3rd crystal, only the 4th spell level come into play, and until which this thing is imported, only the first 3 level comes into play, so don't worry about it too much. The rest, you can do 1 red mage, because you will have red mage is you still get the level 3 spells, but it can also use weapons, and you get 1 set of elemental damage weapons. 1 set, not more. So you can afford 1 red mage, and the 4th one at the beginning, either red or white or black mage. Don't do 2 white mages, that won't work and won't be needed. And don't do a warrior or thief. You will regret it, I guarantee. It's just not efficient. So what's the story here? You are chosen by these crystals to save the world, and you get this is the main quest, and you are still save the world from what? I don't see anything happening. And you actually explore the whole continent until with the 2nd crystal. So you are wondering what the fuck is happening here. But a bit, just 1 or 2 boss fights later, you will know what the actual scope of this mission is and what you are about it. And that was a good moment. Good story moment. And by the way, I'm playing the 3D remake, and that's a couple of days still at 60% discount at COG. It has, I see no glitches, no bugs, no nothing. By the way, I tried to play the first Final Fantasy, just grabbing from the internet and play it once and forget about it. But 1, it was ugly as fuck. 2, it stuttered and the edge of the screen just faded out of existence constantly. It's all the time. It was unplayable. So I don't see why how would you play that. It just forget about it. If you want to play it, probably try fighting for does it Final Fantasy 9, because that still has the same fighting combat system. You see, there were like three stages of Final Fantasy. The first one was this turn-based, strictly turn-based combat. That's 1, 2, 3, and 9. Why 9? Who knows? I guess the chief developer quit the studio and they wanted to reboot the whole thing. I heard it worked out fine because they made a lot of good graphics and story prospect. In Final Fantasy III, the 3D remake has some character moments, so it's better than nothing, like the original. Original had no character moments. I think it's satisfying enough, so uh, there is nothing to complain about it. It's not deep, but at least something. I would, by the way, love a button that called a random battle right now, and I could grind up infinitely faster. That's one of the real problem, that you, even if you select your moves for every turn, then you want to press A to switch on the auto battle, because even the animation turns 2 times speed, and there is no other way to speed up the game. Then instantly turn off when the turn ends, turn off the auto battle and do your thing. But anyway, where was I? The second phase was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This was real-time turn-based. It means your characters had a timer running, and if it filled up, then it executed the action you chose for it, or just hanged around and suffered not doing anything. The timer restarted, and that's a bad thing, obviously. And there is the current era where, let's be honest, Final Fantasy became kinda irrelevant. It's the MMO era. They are doing MMOs. That's it. Anyway, so back to the story. The story, so you get chosen by the crystals and told to do this, and there is first you are to remove some big. You are going to the next city to rescue your childhood friend and to remove a curse from there, and then you have to remove a big landslide. It's a big rock, so you have to blow it up. And for that, you get an airship. It's practically a helicopter, don't worry about it. And it blows up when you blow up the boulder, and that's fucking annoying. And you have promised like 2 other airships, but they are nowhere in sight. You have to walk around with ships and on foot, and that's one fucking slow. And everything is like Pokemon caves full of Zubats, I mean random encounters. But you do need those a bit, that you need to grind up anyway, especially I heard that the end dungeon requires like 6 hours of blind grinding. Anyway, so until this is fine. You don't see any real problem with it. Now you get to the like third city, which is called what is it, Canaan, or yeah, that must be it. Uh, no, yeah, Canaan. I got it in my notes, and they said they say one, you have to find some dude who went dragon hunting or whatever, and also there is a gnome city south of the city in some forest. There is a forest south of the city, but there is no gnome city. So what can you do? You are already kind of disappointed in the game, so your frustration level rises again. Your frustration started when you realized you don't get abilities. You can just attack, and that's it. Especially until the first gem you get, and that's like in the second city, actually after that in the castle, but whatever. Until that you can just attack. You can do big jobs, you can do like nothing else. Anyway, so you are in this city, you go up the hill, and those enemies start to be brutal. I tell you, it's brutal to climb it. It's just a difficulty spike. Not big, but you are encouraged to grind one more level, at least. And you do, and you go up to the top, and you are attacked by this dragon. Can you beat this dragon? No. If you try fighting it, you will die, no matter what you did. No matter your grinding, you can grind up to level 99 and you will still guaranteedly lose. Why? Because the fight is coded that way. Thank you. At least the game tells you to get the fuck off it and use the runaway feature. So you run away, and that's the big point. You cannot go back. Great. You have to enter the gnome city. You enter the gnome city by casting a spell that makes you tiny. What does this mean? This means your physical damage will do jack shit from this point. And you cannot go back until like 4 or 5 dungeons later. That's a fucking cool thing. So if you invested into some warrior or thief or monk, fuck you, says the game. Why didn't you start as a mage? So I tell you, start as an all mage party. 1 white mage, 1 black mage, 2 red mage. Why 2 red? 1, you can afford items, and the 4, you will have to switch to the job. So, okay, so you are forced to casting. Now, here from the gnomes you go to the Viking village. So you think the Viking job, you read the manual or something, so you heard about it. Viking is a job. Is inside? No, it isn't. You are getting trolled. Not that the Viking is a great class to play. I mean, mechanically it's great, I heard. You give it 2 shield and taunts the enemies. And it just gets hit by everything, especially the bosses. And you just hit auto battle and the biggest spells the party otherwise have. And it gets not damaged and the party just wins. That sounds boring. Anyway, you go to the Vikings and you are still required to stay tiny because you go to the Nepo temple to beat the Nepo dragon, which is guarding the Viking's ship, who will you get ownership for this. If you try to go to the Nepo ship, I mean the Viking ship, the Nepo dragon will kill you. That's again coded into the game. You can't do anything about it. So you are forced to go to the Nepo temple, where you are forced to be tiny. So if you are not a mage, fuck you! Great. The freedom of choice. And the worst thing is, I think they even start to give you monk gear. You know how frustrating that is? By the way, okay, let's go in order. So after that, you are going to back to the Vikings and you get the ship. By the way, you know what's your goal at this point? To rebuild the original space airship you got, which blew up. But for that, the constructor needs someone's help because they designed the engine. And I tell you, the dialogue boxes are so simple in this game, you instantly forget them as soon as you read them. So I started the second playthrough to, and I wrote out the information, otherwise I would not know what to do. I mean, I figure out because in the end it's kind of limited what you can do in the map on the map, but it's just fantastic. You don't remember who are you working for, and there is no quest log. Also, there is no bestiary. There is a bestiary, but because this is an action game, it's a hidden feature. You have to do a whole bunch of shit, like 4 more dungeons, before you can go to a city where there is a secret room, where there is a secret NPC who has your bestiary. I'm not joking. And if you don't get this one, and by the way, you get this shit, this bestiary thing with your with the very late game. That's a guaranteed thing, and then you realize, possibly, you missed some monsters. You would be interested because there is an achievement to fight all monsters, find all monsters. Fuck you. Seriously. I hate the design. It's a nitpick, but I hate it. So, then after the Nepo temple, you still better remain a mage. Because then you go to walk around the voters and go to this city which tells from the west they come soldiers and took half of the village with them. One, they didn't. They came from the south, and they also say from the west there are some blind guy who can see the future. Blind or not blind, people who can see the future. There is a city on the west, the city of the ancients, which sells a bunch of stuff that's good for you, but they are neither the people with the army, neither the people who can see the future. The people who can see the future are on the north. By the way, if you go to the south, you will see this thing, later thought it's a tree, and showed you as a tree, but it's just a big tornado thing when it is in the desert. It's floating around, and you guess correctly that it will be a location, but no matter what you try, you can't get into it. Great design, absolutely. I hate it. Now, So you visit all the areas, and then you get to this yeah, what a Tower of Owen. There is a couple of areas you can visit, and it's worth just running around on foot to fight monsters just for the bestiary and that kind of shit. If you don't do that, you will, miss monsters for your bestiary, whatever. In this Tower of Owen, you will fight a pretty standard boss at the end. It's fine. You probably develop the monk at this point if you are just playing on yourself because you got gear for it. Great. And then there is this whirlpool disappearing, so that unlocks two more areas. One with the bestiary, secret bestiary. It otherwise has nothing else to offer. And the island of the dwarves. Now, the island of the dwarves is an interesting thing because there will you get your second crystal. And what are we doing there? That's a you will walk on lava, for example. It barely hurts you, but it's doing it in real time. It's absolutely great. And of course, you get random encounters while standing in lava. No one cares. The end boss is strong. So you will probably use up some of your special items, especially that it is, I think, weak to lightning. Anyway, point is, that's a bad idea, and you can avoid that if your party is still made just from mages. One white mage, one black mage. This is because clear limitation, and two red mages. Wait for the big thing, because even if you would be able to do this and have no problem with this, there comes the next thing, where you will need all your magic powers. Because your physical attacks will worth jack shit. I guarantee. Now, when you are done with the dwarves, a guy from the city, the army robbed